Welcome to Let Your Light Shine, the podcast where we illuminate the path to your best self. I'm your host, John Louis Hardrick, and I'm so excited to have you join us on this journey of empowerment and self-discovery. Today, and in each episode, we'll dive deep into the themes inspired by the book, Let Your Light Shine, Unleashing Your Inner Glow through essential self-care practices for empowered women. This podcast is for anyone seeking to cultivate their inner glow, embrace their power, and truly let their light shine. In our conversations, we'll explore different topics that resonate with women and girls from all walks of life. We'll discuss the SHINE method, practical and transformative self-care practices like sleep, proper hydration, tuning into our intuition, and nourishing our bodies while remaining fully engaged. But that's not all. We'll also delve into cultivating joy through hobbies, practicing grace, forgiveness, and engaging in activities that make our souls light up. Each episode features incredible women who share their stories, wisdoms, and insights. They're entrepreneurs, creatives, professionals, mothers, daughters, all shining examples of how embracing these practices can lead to a fulfilled and empowered life. So whether you're looking to ignite a new spark in your life or fan the flames of an existing one, Let Your Light Shine is here to guide and inspire you. Remember, for more resources and information, you can always visit lightshinebook.com. Let's get started and explore together how we can all let our light shine brighter. Join me, John Louis Hardrick, in this empowering journey. Here's to letting our lights shine together. And now, let's dive in to today's episode. Hi, it's Jocelyn Louis Hardrick, and this is the Let Your Light Shine podcast. Today, we're going to hear from Vanessa Ferguson, and she's going to share how she lets her light shine in her life. Vanessa is someone I know personally. She's a great person to work with, especially if you're an entrepreneur, because she is the intellectual property guru. She is the manager and an attorney at Ferguson Legal, PLLC. She's a Florida native and was born and raised in Central Florida. She got her associate's and her bachelor's in criminology and graduated from the University of South Florida. And then she went to the University of Dayton School of Law and graduated in 2.5 years. And there she got her certification in intellectual property. So while she was in law school, she pursued extensive studies in intellectual property, the Internet of Things, and privacy issues related to both subjects. And she also, before starting Ferguson Legal PLC, had other legal experience working at a national employment law firm. And now she's, a business owner, helping people with their intellectual property. Let's talk about some of these certifications Vanessa has. She's certified in information privacy technology, certified information privacy professional, and both certifications means that she understands data protection practices, frameworks, and US privacy laws. And she's an active member in the Tampa, Florida community. She gives back. She's a board member of the Foundation for Community-Driven Innovation, on the board of Diversity Access Pipeline, Inc., which is Journey to Esquire, one of my passion projects. And she's general counsel of Envision LLC, doing business as Women in Tech and Entrepreneurship. Hey, Vanessa.
Hey, Jocelyn. Thanks so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks for joining, and you're our first. So you're going to talk about how you let your light shine doing all this wonderful things that you do. So one of the first questions I have and our listeners might have is, you majored in criminology and then you made this pivot towards intellectual property. Why did you do that?
I think, like most people who aren't familiar with the law, they don't know that there are several types of law. going into law school or while I was in law school, people would often ask me, "Are you going to be a prosecutor or defense attorney?" That's literally all a lot of people know. And going into college and going into law school, I knew very early on that I wanted to be a lawyer since I was like 16. And going into law school or college, I thought criminal law was literally the only type of law. I didn't know there were other laws. So I was a criminology major, legal studies minor, and while in law school, I think, or while in college, about halfway through, I worked for the public defender's office for 2.5 years, interviewing intake and assisting the attorneys during arraignment hearings. And I quickly learned that criminal law was just not it for me. For me, I find it to be more of a social work. I don't think any amount of prison time or reducing their sentences is going to give them the help that they need. They really need to be rehabilitated so that they can enter society and be contribute, things that are valuable to society. And that's when I realized I'm good. I'm out on this. So to be honest, I went to Wikipedia and I looked up types of law that make good money and I found entertainment law, corporate law, and intellectual property law. So when I applied for law schools, I only applied for law schools that offered an entertainment law concentration and an IP concentration. So that's how I ended up in Snowy, Ohio. And I just fell in love. When I got there and started learning about it, I just fell in love. And then I took the Internet of the Things course, and that's why I combined the privacy law. And I love innovation. I love new things and new ideas and entrepreneurship. So that's kind of Wikipedia. That's the short answer.
And it shows on your face, like, you literally just lit up talking about
Yeah.
privacy law and intellectual property. And I was gonna say, because it says you're born and raised in Central Florida, and I'm like, y'all, Dayton is in Ohio where it snows. And I know a lot of Florida babies who ended up, all over America. Because when you're in graduate school, you got to get in where you fit in,
Yeah.
right? It's not always going to be the place close to home. What was that transition like when you were in a new city as a young woman?
Yeah, it was really hard. I think it was harder than I thought it would be socially. I've never been very far away from home. I'm from Oviedo, so Orlando, Florida. And the furthest I went for college was Tampa, which is like 2.5 hours, maybe 3 hours, depending on the traffic. And it was hard. I don't think I've ever been that far away from home and like felt secluded. And the college that I went to or the law school that I went to had a graduating class of about 68 people, and it just wasn't, to be transparent, a good experience for me. It reminded me of high school all over again, but like in high school I was like one of the cool kids, so I didn't have that experience, and I felt just very rejected and not accepted in law school. So it was a very interesting experience, but I learned a lot.
Yeah, wow. And that's, a lot of women, in particular Black women, do have that experience, especially as we go up the corporate ladder, so to speak.
Yes.
We've seen some very recent high profile firings in the news, and or resignations. And a lot of times it's these people, it's like, this person was overqualified for this job. And
Mm.
then, but they get into these environments and they're not friendly.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why we're talking about this Let Your Light Shine podcast, because sometimes we have these experiences that dim our light a little bit. As we come to the close of another enlightening episode of Let Your Light Shine, I want to thank you sincerely for joining us today. It's been a true joy and privilege to share this space with you and our inspiring guest. Before we part ways, I'd like to leave you with a small nugget of wisdom to carry with you. Remember, the light you hold within is a beacon of hope, strength, and beauty. It's uniquely yours, and when you let it shine, you not only illuminate your own path, but also light the path of others. If you've been inspired by our conversation today, I would encourage you to explore more at lightshinebook.com, where you can find additional resources and support on your journey to unleashing your inner glow. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please share it with someone who might also benefit from its message. Remember to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform so you never miss an episode of Let Your Light Shine. As we say goodbye for now, remember that every day is an opportunity to embrace your power, cultivate joy, and most importantly, let your light shine. Until next time, I'm Jocelyn Jean-Louis Hardrick, wishing you peace, love, and light. Thank you for listening, and keep shining bright.